Today's theme is the medical side of mental health.
Huge. There's a huge mismatch going on with mental health these days.
You said it's not a medical problem, but isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, it's a mental health problem, but which is, in my opinion, a medical problem.
Yeah.
Yes.
I agree. Forming that trust with your medical provider, I think, is huge. Welcome to Beacon for Hope, Suicide Prevention Stronger Than the Storm podcast, the podcast where real conversations bring light to the darkness. I'm your host, Melissa Owen.
And I'm your co-host, Kenny Rodriguez.
And I'm Aaron Waters from Liberty MD.
We are thrilled to be joined by Dr. Aaron Waters of Liberty MD right here in Emporia. A Kansas native, Dr. Waters brings decades of experience in family and emergency medicine. He and his wife, Wendy, founded Liberty MD in 2022 to offer more personal, accessible, and patient-centered care right in the heart of downtown. With the focus of whole person wellness, Liberty MD has quickly become a trusted part of our community's healthcare landscape. Welcome, Dr. Waters.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yes.
Yeah, it's glad to have you here. Today's theme is the mental side, the medical side of mental health. A lot of people don't correlate the two. A lot of times, it's just the psychologist, psychiatrist, counselor, the med appointment person, and usually the medical side is its own entity, and that's something that most people don't know about if their own doctor can diagnose or help with that. Um,
Well, I've been doing family medicine now for about 24 years, and used to be that like specifically in small town Kansas, we didn't have a psychiatrist or psychologist anywhere in the system at all. And so, as family practice doctor in real community, um, we used to do a lot of it. And we used to actually make some difference in people's lives. That the system has grown, but they've taken it all away from the family practice doctors who really actually know you very well. And my goal with a direct primary care is to get to know everybody at a lot different level than what is kind of standard today.
Can you tell us what the difference is with the direct patient care? What is that outside of the kind of the normal that we see of the medical model of going to the doctor, being there for about 15 minutes, and then you're out the door? What's the difference?
Well, and I started started out for 12 years, actually 15 years doing family practice. Then I got into emergency room medicine. It was a lot more lucrative and a lot more stressful. Um, so I've kind of seen a lot, but I really, as an emergency room doctor, um, felt like I really didn't get to know any of my patients at all.
Yeah.
And I really missed changing people's lives. I mean, like when you work in the emergency room, you may get 2 minutes, 3 minutes. On a great day, you might get 10 minutes with a patient, but never the 30 minutes or an hour or even an hour and a half that sometimes we get to spend in direct primary care. The model's kind of set up where people pay a monthly fee, anywhere from $15 a month for teenagers up to 95 as a Medicare age person. Um, and we have a patient base and get to know that patient base. And really, I don't allow us to get any bigger until I get to know these people pretty well. And so I kind of feel like this is my opportunity to start making a difference in patients' lives again versus just being, I don't know, sheep and running them through like cattle and running through a gate and then that's it. Well, I, uh, I really feel like the family part of family practice and getting to know people is really, really important.
Yes. Seeing.
Okay.
So, as let's say a new patient coming in, typically what does that look like when you're starting that, just that new relationship with the patient?
Well, first of all, not everything is a good fit. Patient and doctor. Some personalities just really don't clash. So I bring people in for an hour and really try and get to know the depths of their medical problems. I mean, I think people, even just to state what's wrong with them, they're just not going to get very deep in a 5-minute conversation. And I
Mhm.
think, regular medicine in conventional medicine in today's, they don't want you to get very deep. They want you to send people on and on and on. But I feel like too many cooks spoils the broth. And um, I think it's important that we have thorough, even intimate conversations about the things that really worry them, the things that scare them. And you just don't get to have that in the emergency room or even as a conventional doctor these days.
Yeah, I agree. As somebody who is timid when it comes to doctors,
Right.
I put it off and I put it off
Right.
because I have white coat syndrome and my blood pressure goes through the roof. When it's fine at home when I take it before I go, and then while I'm there, it's just I'm like, no, it's just because I'm here in the
Right.
office.
And some people, I mean, I can think of a gentleman that came in, one of our first patients, and he was uh, quite a bit overweight. He was over 750 pounds, and he was so nervous when he came in here. His blood pressure, his pulse was over 100, his blood pressure was over 200. And now, he comes in on a very regular basis. He's lost over 300 pounds.
Wow.
And we formed a relationship, we
Yes.
formed a bond. And,
Yeah.
and that to me is medicine.
I agree. Forming that trust with your medical provider, I think, is huge
Right.
because one wrong statement from my own personal experience that is a little like you go home and do your own research online. I've had that experience through something traumatic, and then you're really scared to go back. Then
Right.
you get to another practitioner to try to put that behind you, and that fear is always there of what's this relationship going to be like.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, that's one of my biggest problems with medicine today is that it's all about fear. And I've seen commercials on TV that promote fear, and it really shouldn't be like that.
Mhm.
I mean, I feel like I've had 25 years of experience. I've seen about everything through the emergency room for so many years, and my job as a physician is to calm somebody's fears, at least to
Mhm.
start with. And and you really that just doesn't happen in 2 minutes
Yeah.
or 45 seconds or 5 minutes.
Mhm.
It takes some time to get to
Yeah,
know people.
it does.
Is there anything that they're doing to change that? I mean, it's a model that everybody's frustrated with. If you have a family practitioner that say like Stormont up here, I I don't know how many times I've called the office just to talk to the nurse and set an appointment, and it's always leave a message. You never
Mhm.
get anything back.
Yep.
I know that bigger cities and other medical agencies probably have the same overfill of patients, but is there anything that they're trying to do that a DPC model is doing?
Well, I think that's why the DPC was kind of started or founded, and have the pleasure of one of the guys that was one of the pioneers in that, Josh Umbers. He was as a resident, he rotated with me as a family doc, and he really enjoyed what we did, and so he spent a lot of his rotations with me, and I feel like we really formed a bond over the couple of 3 years that he was a resident, and he was one of the pioneers. And after I got, gosh, really burned out on the emergency room, I took my wife and I said, "Let's go visit Josh and see what." The guy was very welcoming. He had plenty of time because he was a direct primary care doctor. Kind of showed us around the clinic, and my wife said, "We can do this like tomorrow." And it's like, wow. And I don't know. So this movement, since I met with Josh, um, gosh, now it's been 4 or 5 years ago. This movement has grown to the last conference. From then, it had a membership of 500 countrywide to now there's over 5,000 countrywide of direct primary care. So I think they're stealing the joy from physicians. And to me, the joy of being a physician is having that relationship and seeing people get better and seeing people change their lives, and that's the joy. But in a conventional practice, you have the nurse and you might get to talk to the nurse, and then you have the secretary, and then you have the front office person, and then you have work comp and or the insurance company, and then you have the employer, and then you have, well, by the time by the time the question gets answered, you know, it's not the same question. And so it's that distance. So, most of the time I make the phone calls myself, scheduling wise, et cetera, et cetera. They'll talk to the front office, but most of the time I'm talking to patients one on one. And they know me and they trust me, and I know them and I trust them. And so it's just a whole different level of conversation that we have as a direct primary care.
So the two aren't the same. I mean, other than the medical part of things,
Well,
it's
it's yes. The also a lot of direct primary cares have their own pharmacy. They have they do kind of in-house tests, in-house labs, in-house procedures, and then they also have a network that's been building since I got into it, from like 400 or 500 to almost 1,000 of specialty people. So I can get like a specialty consult online, right there, right then, right there when the patient is there. And so, I mean, super convenient. It's not like, well, okay, drive to Kansas. Here's your appointment in 8 weeks, and then drive to Kansas City. Spend 3 hours in the waiting room, spend an hour in the room, spend 5 minutes with the doctor, and I mean, we can do it right there. And so it just, all of that adds red tape, all of that adds anxiety, all of that adds just stuff that I don't like about medicine.
yeah. I love the model that you have here. It's not hard to get in. Somebody always answers the phone. I mean, Neva knows my voice by now,
Right.
so
Right.
it's a family atmosphere. So I didn't know, like, in the big, in the hospital over there with the hospital, their doctor's office, you get maybe a different person every time you go to the,
Right.
you don't ever get to know the front staff,
Right.
and you'll see a different nurse every time too.
Right.
You know, so this is way more personal, and it's you know,
It's just fulfilling, I think, for patients and for me. I mean, and I get to do what I do best, which is be a diagnostician, be a doctor.
yep,
I don't have to be a paper pusher. I don't have to call and spend half my day with the insurance companies. I don't have to, all that stuff. It's just not, to me, it's counterproductive.
definitely.
I think that's incredible. I'm just trying to think of, being somebody who, when you go in, like you said, to the doctor, you need a specialist. And then
Right.
that angst of waiting, okay, when you finally get the call back from the referral, and then it's the waiting, just all the amount of anxiety that just builds and builds until you get to that appointment. A lot of times people duck out of the appointment, right? Because they're too scared.
Right.
Because here's somebody brand new.
Right.
They have no relationship with whatsoever. So I can see the ease of having someone you have built a bond with, that patient doctor relationship,
Well,
and
and
that you're right there
yeah.
with them
Right.
in that moment.
Right. Even if they do end up in the hospital, or even if they do end up with something, I'm right there, and they call me and say, "Can you explain what they're doing here? Can you do, can you tell me how this is, how this is going to work?" And, they need a trusted voice
Yes.
that they could
Yes.
talk to.
Absolutely.
Something I have noticed since coming here is that I've learned. It's not that when I come here and see you, it's like you give me a little education on what's going on, and I can look up that in this day and age with Chat GPT and the internet, you can learn anything you want about medical stuff, and I think that as a credit to you because you always teach, even though just like when my wife was in here the other day, you're like, this is the best way to get your results that you're wanting, and you told her the hard stuff, and she appreciated that. I mean, she was like, yeah, I know I need to do that, but you know, me telling her is different,
Right. Well, yeah, and I have kids and I have a wife, and I can kind of tell them,
Yeah,
what they, but they still, I'm still the dad or the husband or whatever. So the doctor's got a little bit more clout, if you will.
yeah,
Mhm.
And I think your wife through the years, trust me,
yeah. She does.
which is that's super important. And she had a lot to be fearful for the first time she came in.
Yeah.
And I
Sure.
think she's a lot more relaxed. And I think it's like, yeah, we can get help here.
Yeah.
This is where we go to get help.
And I think that's the theme too of getting help.
Yeah.
So my sister's is a perfect case where she went to doctor after doctor for 10 years, and every doctor was this was the miracle procedure that was going to take the pain away. And I mean, flying to, up to Mayo Clinic, you think, okay, we're all the way to Mayo now. So this is going to be this is going to be great. We're finally going to get the solution. She's going to actually get back to her life again and such. And that didn't work. So just that, finally when you find somebody where you feel like they can help, you can
Well,
put
and I
that
think
guard down.
again, it's a partnership.
Mhm.
The patient doctor relationship, and some people, I mean, are not a good fit for the clinic, and I tell them, and I've never had anybody stomp out of here and be upset ever. But it's like I just don't think I'm the one for you. You've got this, and this. My capabilities are this, and I don't think I'm going to be able to reach you on this level. I don't think I'm going to be able to help you with this. And if I can't help you, I don't want to waste your time.
Right. Right.
And by the same token, what I ask is that it's like try some of these things I'm telling you,
Mhm. Mhm.
and do that because if you do that, it can change your life. But if you don't, probably won't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I appreciate a physician that holds the patient accountable too, because it is a partnership. You can't wave the magic wand as much as we would like you to
Yeah.
when we need to put the work in.
Yeah.
The lifestyle changes for
That's
sure.
that's and I've had a lot of those conversations too. That it's like if you continue to do what you're doing, you're going to kill yourself.
Mhm. Mhm.
So you know,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, I know just from Kenny coming here that I've learned stuff through Kenny
Yeah.
about different types of vitamins and just different things that how he's changed and just the total like difference he has seen. And I have seen it too over the last year, I would say. I mean, just having the energy and just different, just really feeling different. So it is incredible.
My anxiety is him retiring.
I think I've got a good replacement on the way. So we'll see.
Mhm, mhm.
So let's talk about the mental health part of medical stuff.
Okay.
From a medical standpoint, how do doctors handle diagnosing somebody with depression, anxiety? Because here, for instance, my daughter was in a, we're going to have them on in a couple weeks, but she was hospitalized and then she was told to get on this medicine, do this stuff every day, an intensive outpatient treatment. Well, when she got here, they were like, well, we'll see you once a month, and your next med appointment's 3 months from now. And so a lot of people, we sent her to her physician, to, hey, you need to just go to your doctor and tell them that you need this medicine, and then work on finding somebody to counsel you. And it was so frustrating. So I know a lot of people lean on their doctors, and
There's a huge mismatch going on with mental health these days. Let me give you an example. I worked the ER for a lot of years. I've seen probably hundreds to maybe thousands, probably closer to thousands of mental health patients in the emergency room. And so, as an emergency room doctor, I have to find follow up care for these patients. Say they're not suicidal, but they just have they just have something that they need to talk to. Well, I might wait for 3 or 6 or 9 hours to get somebody to call me back and say, hey, I can see patient X about such and such. And so you can't really uh, let them leave if you don't know that they're going to be okay. So, I mean, these people spend hours and days and sometimes weeks in the emergency room, trying to get the end stage help that they need. And so there's not enough of that around. There really isn't.
um,
And the mental health crisis explosion has made it to where even now that they have 2 to 3 times as many mental health people as they did when I started, there's still not enough to go around. And so I think as a family doctor, I hope that people would use me as a mental health professional. And, it's not my number one thing, et cetera. But gosh, back when I was in family medicine, I was over the Cali County uh, mental health, and I used to prescribe medicines for them for a short time where they were waiting for a psychiatrist. So, I mean, your family doctor should have a decent idea of what you need to get you through. And I think that should be, I don't know, to me, it's a good primary resource because you can make sure it's not a medical problem and then go ahead and treat with some baseline medicines.
You said it's not a medical problem, but isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, it's a mental health problem, but which is, in my opinion, a medical problem.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, a lot of the times, like for me, when I came to you and you put me on TRT,
Mhm.
I didn't know that was the root cause of my depression, you know? And it, I remember the first time you prescribed me the gel at first, and I went and put it on in the morning, went to work, and usually came home and needed a nap, because I was exhausted afterwards. But it was like that movie Limitless where everything brightens up and you can think clearly. And got home, mowed the lawn, did some laundry. I mean, I just couldn't stop moving because I had so much energy.
Yep.
But that was the root cause
And
of,
that's something that really, I mean, that doesn't go down in the quote unquote mental health drugs, but that's something as a kind of a functional medicine holistic doctor. Oh, it's a big part.
yeah.
It's a huge part,
Yeah.
you know? And that's not testosterone or hormone therapy. I could say for both men and women. It's not quote unquote a conventional antidepressant, but it works. And
I can
the
attest
other
to that.
things that I do that works as well. So that's why I would encourage people to get to know their family doctor and to spend some time. But it's so difficult with the system as it is today.
What was frustrating about that is before, like, I want to say a month before I uh, switched over to here, I asked to have my testosterone checked, and they sent back, well, it's normal. But when I checked it through you, it was way low. I'm like, then I was talking to some other guys. They're like, yeah, the insurance won't cover it unless it meets this this window. And I'm like, why do they have a say in that?
The insurance game is another. I mean, big pharma is a huge, huge problem, and big pharma is trying to push mental health meds. Okay, and so they've got the market, right? And then on the backside of that, um, like nobody's really making money on hormone replacement either. So I mean, they're not pushing that, but I mean, to me, it's a piece of the puzzle. It's part of the whole human. It's not just the testosterone. It's not just the depression. It's everything together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of the medical doctors forget. It's one thing. That's
Right.
all they focus on.
Well, but in 5 minutes or 3 minutes, what are you going to come up with?
Right.
I mean, what are you gonna come up with in 5 minutes? Well, I mean, I was in that system, and it's like when the bell dings and it's time to go to the next patient,
Yeah.
then you're done.
Hmm.
And uh, gosh, it's like again like herding cattle and working cattle. It's like the faster you can get them through, the more money you make, and that's not what DPC is about.
Yeah. 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 What do you do with patients who might, maybe you identify that, they have some depression or anxiety and they can benefit from, a medication, but they're resistant to that? Do you have like a more holistic approach to try
Well, I
first?
mean, actually, the textbooks uh, used to say, well, first, you want to counsel on lifestyle changes and diet and exercise, et cetera. And all the textbooks when I went to medical school said that about mental health. Well, I take that seriously
Mm.
because I feel like in my practice, it probably treats maybe 75% of people. And honestly, I mean, there's a lot of mental health meds that I've stopped through sunlight exposure, through routine exercise, through a good diet, through good sleep patterns. And all of those things either have a positive or negative impact on your mental health. And so I do a lot of, I do a lot of what they call life hacks, and there are things that you can do like cold plunges or um, I don't know, or grounding or Wim Hof breathing techniques or this or that. And it's funny, but there's a lot of people it's worked for, a lot,
That's amazing.
We use a Wim Hof, or we call it tactical breathing,
right?
in a high stress situation, so we can get our heart rate back down. Say if we're ever in a, God forbid, I have never been in a shooting, but if I am, you have to use that not only to clear your mind and to know what to do next, but also to keep your muzzle downrange on the threat and not on some poor kid down the block, because when you're breathing heavy,
Right.
your hand and your head and everything is
Right.
just going up. So you got to do that. Lieutenant David Grossman, when I read his book it's called On Killing, it was the study of war and what the human body goes through with high stress combat situations and stuff like that. That's where I first learned that from. It's amazing. I do it just to go to sleep too. You know,
Actually, the Wim Hof breathing techniques, if you start them before age 40, this is a Gary Brecka thing, but if you start them before age 40, you add 7 years to your life.
Wow.
Wow.
Why wouldn't everybody do that?
Yes.
And so how many people have I shared that with? Oh, probably nearly 100 from my practice, but I mean, that's a really good de-stress. And we're talking about people that are anxious. We're talking about people that are depressed. We're talking about, and just that simple little deal, box breathing, okay, actually helps a lot of those people.
Definitely.
So how about if you're over the age of 40?
Well, I'm not sure. I haven't done the
Okay.
Gary Brecka can give you calculations, but I mean, honestly, the
amazing.
lifestyle to me is one of the things that I do, and I think it helps most people.
It definitely does. I mean, I know that's a coping mechanism when you're having a anxiety attack is
Yes.
to breathe and
Mhm.
you bring down that heart rate and that's how you get yourself out of it.
Right.
So
I have found when I have really high cortisol, I can feel the cortisol.
Yep.
Working out, going to the gym, just really just dissipated that. When I was going through my divorce, I was faithfully in the gym every day because every morning I woke up and I could just feel that cortisol, and it worked so well, and that led into my eating habits change because I noticed my body changing in a positive way and just kind of snowballed positive things.
Yes.
Just from movement.
Right.
Mhm.
Just from exercise. And
Mhm.
I mean, like, for example, like SSRIs, which is a very, very, very commonly prescribed med these days, which is an antidepressant. Um, there's studies out there that show that if you combine that with exercise, you have a multiplicative effect. Okay. So when I put somebody on an SSRI, Prozac or Lexapro or Paxil or Zoloft, whatever, and an SSRI, I make them promise me they're going to exercise. And I mean, I'm not sure whether it's the exercise that helped or the SSRI, but there's studies that show that. But how many psychiatrists are saying, oh, you need to exercise with this?
Yeah.
I haven't never heard of
I
one.
have never heard of one either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just that one little tweak.
Mhm.
Or we've talked about a couple. We talked about Wim Hof breathing techniques, and uh, we've talked about this, but why not? It's free.
It's free.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, something else is free is dopamine. Tell us about how
Yes.
dopamine works with depression and anxiety.
I just, actually dopamine, I feel like you wake up in the morning, okay, with the highest level, if you had a good night's sleep, sorry, with the highest level of dopamine. All right. So that is your vim and vigor. Okay. That is and you get to spend that through the day. All right. Now, they show that like social media and stuff like that, you'll get a little small dopamine hit from this or a little small dopamine hit from that. And so basically, you're scrolling your phone all day, you've depleted your dopamine. Now, I believe you should invest your dopamine. All right. Let's invest that dopamine in exercise. Let's invest that dopamine in doing things that make you feel better. Not the easy things, not scrolling, but
Mhm.
exercise, like conversation, like getting together with people, like those kind of things. Yeah, dopamine is huge. Now, I mean, how do you get your dopamine up? What can you do? Cold plunge, Wim Hof breathing techniques, grounding. I mean, all of those things improve your dopamine. And uh, gosh, there's three of the main class of psych meds that basically just increase your dopamine. I mean, that's what they're for,
Mhm.
right? Now, what happens if you just get it through life?
Yeah.
I mean, it's let's talk about getting it through life
Mhm.
and spending it appropriately instead of spending it on things that are just sucking down your energy or your
Now,
wherewithal.
now, how is are those meds that increase dopamine, like the psych meds that increase dopamine, are they could they be harmful for a person's body? Or because I know illegal drugs will increase your dopamine, and then you chase that high for the rest of your life because you can't replenish your dopamine
Right.
levels.
Right. And so what happens, it's just like with like alcohol,
Yeah.
okay, or drugs or whatever the addiction stuff. And people are seeking that dopamine, but it basically depletes, and it depletes, and it depletes every time you do it. And social media, it depletes, it depletes, it depletes. The only thing that I'm aware of that really that's natural that replenishes dopamine is grounding, is exercise, is having friends and being with a community of some kind. Those are the things that replace. And so you want to invest your dopamine.
Okay. Can you bank your dopamine? Like, say, does it? Can you, when you say invest, can you have
Have a reserve of
have a
it
reserve of dopamine?
if you need to pull
That's
from
what
it.
I can't remember the guy that's a big dopamine. One thing I want to say it's Eric Berg, but he talks about investment of dopamine, and he said that he wants to invest so that you can bank. He said the exercise and the community awareness and the friends and all that stuff. He says that actually increases your stores of dopamine.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. Talk to us about the importance of good sleep.
oh man. Well, my motto, okay, because I was kind of the old fashioned doctor, my motto used to be you can sleep when you're dead. Okay.
Just be
And
lying
I
to me.
mean, honestly, I
Yeah.
I lived by that mantra for a lot of years.
Mhm.
About 7 years ago, I had a major heart attack, almost died, et cetera. And, actually followed the system through everything. I went to all the docs, I took all the meds, I did all that stuff. And I think of all the things that I'm doing for myself now, okay, to invest in myself, getting good sleep is probably the best of it.
Is it?
And uh, yes, your brain actually gets rewired when you
Mhm.
sleep. Your dopamine replenishes when you sleep uh, properly. And I think with sleep, you gotta really kind of follow the circadian rhythms. You try and go to bed about the same time. You try and get up about the same time, and then you want to actually not be in blue light. You want to be in a dark room. So sleep is, I mean, that's a whole podcast, but sleep is hugely
Yes.
important.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
I I have a horrible day when I get 5 hours of sleep.
Oh, I do too. I'm
I
just dragging all
yeah,
day. Yes.
yeah.
And then
Yeah,
we turn to the caffeine, right,
right.
to keep us going
Right. And then,
throughout
and
the
then,
day.
I mean, this is so typical of what I see is that, yeah, it's like, well, I couldn't sleep. So, yeah, I stayed up all night. And
Mhm.
then the next day I had the caffeine up and the caffeined up. till right before they went to bed, and then they couldn't sleep.
They couldn't
again.
sleep again.
And so, I mean, I've seen that happen, and I've just seen that happen in
And
hundreds.
caffeine will give you anxiety if you
Oh,
overdo
right.
it.
oh yeah,
Right.
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I can't drink energy drinks because it makes my heart like go into an arrhythmia, which is
Well,
scary enough. And then my anxiety, I'm just,
you know
yeah.
how many hundreds of patients, maybe thousands, that I've seen in the emergency room that did an energy drink and came in with. Well, my brother had had 3 Red Bulls and had a massive MI
Oh my
subsequent to
goodness.
that. So, yeah,
Kenny.
every day, every day. I used to see that every day.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah. Mhm.
What is that? Myocardial or whatever infarction?
Myocardial infarction. It's basically your heart's like a muscle.
I just like saying infarction.
Yeah. Your heart's like a muscle, and so the vessel's not feeding that muscle enough. And so, like when you exercise that muscle and you don't get enough blood flow, we've all experienced that where your muscles get really super sore and the
Yeah.
lactic acid builds up, et cetera.
Yeah.
That's what happens with your heart. The vessel doesn't feed the heart, okay, in order for that heart muscle to work properly.
Okay.
So the heart muscle says, can't do another rep, and then you're in trouble.
So it's
Yeah.
is that essentially a heart attack?
And myocardial infarction is actually a heart attack.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Dang. Well, I got some life choices to make.
Mhm. What are some mood boosting foods that you recommend?
You know, let's go into foods, okay? Because I first thing I think I want to do is go through the mood not boosting foods.
Okay.
Okay. So one of the things that I have seen, and I'm really shocked at how common this is and Gary Brecka again. He's not the only guy that I follow. There's a lot of guys that I follow. Um, is really into the MTHFR gene. Right, 40% of the population does not genetically have the ability to break down folate. Okay,
Oh, okay.
so if you cannot break down folate, it becomes a toxin. Okay. So if you look at all and then you hear the super processed or the hyper processed foods, and you hear about this, et cetera, et cetera, the first thing that all of those things have, they say enriched. Okay.
Mhm. Yes.
Enriched. Well, what are you enriched with? It's enriched with folate. Okay. True story.
Wow.
So pretty much everything that you can buy at Casey's
Mhm.
is ultra processed food. I haven't seen one thing in that whole store that you can buy that's really good for you, except water.
Yeah.
And so if you can't process that folate and make it into folic acid,
Mhm.
your body can't use it. Okay. What are what are the side effects? What are the symptoms? What's the disease that causes? Well, if you get too much folate and you can't process it, if you can't methylate it and make it into folic acid, you get toxic. And when you get toxic, you get irritable, you get anxious, you get ADHD symptoms, you get this, you get that, you get, all these red dye symptoms, all of those things that you get from being toxic. And so 40% of the population genetically cannot break down folate. Okay. So what do? We take methylfolate, methylated B vitamins. Okay. So you take methyl factors, which actually methylate folate to turn it into folic acid. And then you get rid of all those anxieties and all the hyperactive and all the this and all. You know how many people I've taken off of antidepressant and anxiety medicines, putting them on methylated B vitamins?
Wow.
I mean, I would guess, and I'm in the 50s, and off of their antidepressants, off of their, I mean, it's kind of crazy. And I know it's a conspiracy theory, but gosh, what was society thinking when they decided that they wanted to enrich everything, with something that our body doesn't even recognize?
Mhm.
Okay. And so, yeah, that's one of my majors that I do right off the bat. If people won't check an MTHFR test, which is a little bit expensive.
That's what I was going to ask you. Is there a test that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It used to be, I used to be able to get it online for $600. I think I'm doing it now here for 100. Um, it's actually less than 100. I think it's 90-ish dollars, but it's, yeah, less than $100. And I can check that and it kind of tells you, so you need methyl factors, you need a vitamin 3 times a day. So with me, I'm, I'm not a methylator. Okay. I have the MTHFR gene. And so when I eat really bad, I'll take a methyl factor twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day if I eat really bad. But it keeps me from getting real edgy and anxious and everything else. And I mean, I just wonder. I mean, 40% of the population doesn't have that gene. You know, how many people are on antidepressants out there that that don't have to be?
Right.
Yeah.
Now, where would somebody get a methyl factor vitamin?
I have it here. They have it at Nature's Paradise. You got to get. I trust Nature's. They have really good vitamins there, and so you want to do a trusted source. You don't want to get the cheapest thing you can find,
So
but
what would a person need to look for in and to make sure that they're getting a reputable supplement?
well, and that's a little tougher. You got to go to a trusted source, and it's like most of the pharmacists in town are trusted, and um, I I just do my research on every in the clinic, and I don't really sell meds because I don't want to be like big pharma and making money off meds, so I don't sell much. I try and I try and make sure that people are supporting other businesses, et cetera, because I don't want keep too much around where it goes bad, and that's the other thing is over the counter vitamins can go bad, and nobody. Now my vitamins, when they go bad, the companies call me the next day and saying ship them back. So yeah, but yeah, I would. And there's some apps now. Um, Mark Hyman has an app, and Eric. Yeah, there's some apps that actually tell you what vitamins are good and what vitamins aren't, and how it's pretty impressive. I mean, I think RFK is kind of changing the system a little bit.
Yeah, I'm happy about that. I mean, you talked about the food dyes and that how so many things are harmful for us here in America. You know, and
Well, things that they won't allow in Canada and Europe and
right.
all over the place. And here I mean, we have a horrible system. The FDA is, in my opinion, they're kind of bought and paid for.
Well, I think that's. I mean, not conspiracy theory. You can go buy your own FDA approval. I mean, it's been shown, it's been proven.
Right.
You know, there's
It's really really sad at how they've given that up. And uh, yeah, as far as it's sad. And I don't feel like it's a conspiracy theory either. But I mean, gosh, we're killing our kids, and that's what's the bad thing. We're killing our kids,
yeah,
over medicating our kids, and diagnosing them with ADHD when they just need methyl factors, and putting them on. I mean, putting them on Ritalin and Adderall and XYZ for their ADHD, which really has been shown to work effectively for a year, and then really not after that. After that, it becomes a B1 vitamin deficiency. Anyway, it's
yeah.
just more and more.
Now, talking about the kids, and when did you first start seeing a large influx of ADHD or ADD? Um, and does it correlate with the enrichment of our foods?
I have seen, I started family practice 20 years ago, and um, we didn't really have a lot of 24 years ago. Sorry, just thought about that for a bit. Um, and it was soon after I started that they were kind of big on it. Now, for whatever reason, okay, ADHD became a lot more popular, okay, and a lot more diagnosable after they came out with ADHD medicine after they came out with Ritalin, after they came out uh, with Adderall, after they came out with X, Y, Z. Hyperlipidemia, which I understand very, very well, used to be a blood cholesterol of over 300. Now it's over 180. And, so, and what changed with that? Well, they came out with cholesterol medicine. Well, they came out with ADHD medicine. And one of my other problems is I hate to label people mental health wise. I hate to say, oh, they've got this or they've got that. And that's another thing. The school systems they get paid X amount of dollars per uh, special needs child that they have. Well, if you can diagnose an extra 100 people with ADHD or an extra 100 people with depression or an extra 100 people with X, and the drug companies are pushing the diagnosis, when I just pray that, at some point people start looking holistically at that. Are they exercising? Are they eating? I mean, the diet at schools are horrible,
Uh, They've been
horrible,
Yeah.
and they're full of fortified stuff,
Yeah.
you know, and I just think we got to get back to the basics.
Yeah, I know the school system has had horrible food for years, even when I was in high school. Um, and you always hear the politicians preaching about it, but they never do anything about it.
It's better tasting food.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
it's better tasting food, but it's all ultra processed food,
yeah,
just the same.
Yes.
And look what they're serving in hospitals.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Okay, I mean, any institutional food these days is ultra processed foods.
Yeah,
Needs to change.
it definitely does, and hopefully with the new attitude in the politics, or at least in the health secretary, that will within these next
I,
three
I
and a
I
half
hope
years.
I hope he can get some stuff done. I really do.
Yeah, hopefully the big pharma and the food industry doesn't beat them down and
Right,
wear them down,
right.
but
That's a pretty tall mountain to climb.
it is.
Yes.
What are some good foods to eat then for us?
Well, I really talk about whole foods. Okay, I mean Whole Foods. What I mean by that is the closer to the ground or the closer to God that you get, the better they are. I mean, there's really, and I know this is going to meet with some criticism, but there's really nothing better than grass-fed beef for so many things. Whole vegetables, whole fruits, whole anything that's whole and wholesome. And then um, as far as like bread, there's a lot of I like to kind of keep people away from gluten. As I like to avoid sugar and gluten and high doses of lactose as well, because those cause inflammation in the gut. But I mean, if you can do protein, fruits, vegetables, that is absolutely the best thing that you can get.
Now, would the normal, do you have to look for a special type of fruit, vegetable, and meat? Like if I go to Walmart from here and I'm looking for these whole foods, are they labeled whole foods, or do I have to do homework
No,
before?
no, they're not. So I mean, I think that any kind of protein. I mean, there's some that are better than others. Grass-fed beef is kind of the thing that's really taken off as being the best. With grass-fed buffalo, which we have a farm that's outside of town. Um, those are some of the best. Those are some of the best things. But then again, vegetables. And it's like you really don't want the ones that have been sprayed with glyphosate, et cetera. But vegetables, fruits, and I would get. I mean, if I were to get exactly what I thought was the best, it would be grass-fed beef, whole farm raised chickens, uh, farm raised beef, farm raised uh, buffalo, um, farm raised chickens. I think I might have said that. And then wild caught fish
Yeah.
is actually, I mean, that for the protein, and then the vegetables, man, there's nothing better than a garden. Or you
Yeah.
can go to, I mean, we have a great farmer's market here,
Yeah.
and they sell Uh, a lot of them are very, very reputable.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So as far as like foods that elevate your mood, actually, one that elevates your mood that kind of comes to mind is is dark chocolate with high doses of cocoa.
Oh yeah.
And actually, that actually is a brain stimulant.
I actually have dark chocolate in my purse at all times.
Okay,
Or because
just make sure it has like at least 70%
okay.
COCOA
Okay.
cocoa.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I used to drink just cocoa in my coffee
Mhm.
um because it uh one of the TikToks I saw was a doctor talking about how good it is for you and also that it stimulates stem cell growth.
Yep.
And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna try that. So
So as far as something that you would recognize
Mhm.
or whatever, I mean, cocoa. I mean, there's also all kinds of life hacks with uh, like fruits and blended lemons and this and that. But I mean, I think just if you just stay simple and you just fruits, vegetables, protein, meat, eggs, fish, chicken, etc. I think
Just your basics, it
yes,
seems like. I mean,
yes.
honestly, just your yeah.
And the ketogenic diet has also been shown to improve memory and your brain fuels on two sources. One is glucose and the other is ketones.
Mhm.
And ketones come from fats. And so keto diet actually is shown to make your brain function better.
Okay. What's the best healthy fats? The healthiest fats out
Well,
there.
uh, actually, the healthy fats. You're gonna think I'm crazy here, but grass-fed beef butter, beef tallow. Um,
I've heard of that.
Really?
yeah,
Okay.
the other toxin in our society that's so overused these days is seed oils.
Mhm.
And I mean, it just trashes your mitochondria. Your mitochondria are your batteries, you
Mhm.
know, for your cell. And seed oils are literally horrible for you. The only oils that are really good is avocado, um, extra virgin olive oil, uh, coconut oil, and there's one that I'm missing. But the rest of them,
Mhm.
sunflower oil, safflower oil, peanut oil, all of those are basically th- they've got a lot of hexane in them. They've got a lot of toxins, and man, those are really horrible for you.
You can. They also have a beef tallow oil that you can cook with.
Yep,
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
yep,
Okay.
I think after RFK came into office, one of the chain restaurants went to cooking their fries with beef tallow. I can't
yep,
remember which one.
yep.
Yeah,
And
so
that's really gained popularity. I see that beef tallow in a lot of different products
It
that they're
really
utilizing it
it
for.
well, I think it's like
Mm.
they're building up awareness,
Mhm.
and it's like, gosh, if I looked at like the regular American diet and just all the terrible oils that everybody gets, it's it really is. It's scary.
Mhm. Yeah. What's the best things for people to drink to stay healthy? What are the healthier choices outside of
Well,
water?
okay,
Me
outside of water, okay. Um, green tea would be that's my go-to.
too.
Um, green tea is the and then the other thing is water with electrolytes is really kind of important too.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, and then I'm going to go one step further because um, mineral water, okay, there's 92 minerals that we need to get that are essential for us all the time, okay, and think that like 80% of people are deficient in minerals. So like a teaspoon of Celtic salt or Baja Gold salt has all 90 of the minerals that we need. And your body is like a conveyor belt where they're building cars or whatever. And if you don't have that essential mineral, you can't go on. You can't. It's like not having a number eight bolt. Your metabolism can't go on. So, I would say water. If I had to, and I do this every morning. I do water with Baja Gold salt, which has all 80 minerals, a teaspoon of Baja Gold
Just a
salt.
teaspoon.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's it.
With
They're trace minerals.
the pink salt also, or
Himalayan,
pink Himalayan.
pink Himalayan. Yes, I like it, except it doesn't have any iodine.
Okay.
And I've had two or three people come in with thyroid problems because of pink Himalayan and not enough iodine.
Okay.
So other than that, yes, I think pink Himalayan's good.
Okay.
And where do you buy this salt? Where can you get it?
Um, I got mine on Walmart.com.
Okay, so you
Yep.
just
Yeah.
trip to Walmart or
Baja
Walmart.com.
Baja Gold.
Okay.
They've also got that at Nature's Paradise as well.
Okay.
But yeah, the minerals are important
Mm-hmm.
and the electrolytes are important.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I mean, people that get the worst thing you can do is consume your calories. Consume your calories with stuff you drink.
Yes.
You know, like sugar is the killer of our society right now, and you can really put down. You can put down, and one extra tablespoon of sugar per day causes inflammation for the next week. Well,
Oh, wow.
it's one extra tablespoon a day causes inflammation in your body for a week. Well, how many extra tablespoons are
Oh, yeah.
people getting?
Mm-hmm.
So sugary
Wow.
drinks are really bad, really bad. I would say that's the worst. Sugar's the worst. Seed oils are the second worst.
So sugar and inflammation in general, does that have an effect on our mental health?
Absolutely. And inflammation, it goes through your body and into your brain. Yes.
Okay. Now we've been talking about what to eat and what not to eat. What about like fasting? Will that improve mood, and will that improve, like, if you're trying to get off your meds, will fasting be a good technique to use?
I think fasting, are you talking about intermittent or long term?
Well, I long term, like a 72-hour fast.
Well, I mean, honestly, I feel like in Europe, that's kind of the mainstay of their healthcare system is fasting, and they fast for cancer, they fast for energy, they fast for diabetes, they fast for. I can tell you through the clinic here, we've had over 60 people. We do a fast a few times a year, and the results I've seen are pretty amazing. First thing, it causes autophagy, which is where your body gets rid of dead or zombie cells, cells that really aren't doing anything. In a 72-hour water fast. Okay, I want to make sure that's water and
Okay.
electrolytes.
Okay.
Um, and A, that happens. B, your insulin resistance goes down. C, your energy level goes up. D, it causes growth hormone surge. E, it causes stem cell surge. I mean, gosh, how do you argue with those results, you know? And I've seen it. I mean, I've experienced it, I've lived it, I've seen it. Um, I know that there's some doctors out there that would like to disagree with me, but man, you know, in Europe, they're doing it very, very routinely and they're having some great success, even for cancer.
Wow.
Yeah, I've been with you on a 72-hour fast, or it was Wendy and a couple other people,
Right.
and your mind clears,
Does
your
it?
your inflammation, your joints don't hurt anymore.
Wow.
Yeah, and plus on the added benefit, you lose weight. I lost 6 pounds in 3 days.
Right. And I've done it enough now where I really don't lose weight much. Okay. But man, I feel so good afterwards.
Yeah,
It's the growth hormone surge, it's the stem cell surge, it's, you know, all of that that helps. And we do it as a clinic, all of us do it together
Mhm.
so that, and a lot of the patients do it at the same time. So we can kind of support each
See,
other
that's a
through
great
the,
support network when you're
right.
doing it together.
Because there's really nothing better, you know, as
yeah,
far as what you can do for yourself. And again, it's free. I'm not asking
Right.
you to pay.
Yeah.
I'm not asking you to pay $10,000 for stem cells like they do,
yeah.
whatever. It's like
Hmm.
just fast for 72 hours.
What about the intermittent fasting? I see a lot of
I think
gimmicky
there's a lot.
things.
Well, I think there's a lot to be said for that. Eric Berg is a huge fan of that, and he's got a huge following too. And he kind of works it to where you start your intermittent fasting by missing breakfast and then you miss lunch and then he kind of gets it. Now, I have one patient that has followed that to the T with a carnivore diet,
Yes.
and his cholesterol um, went from I think 320 on meds to 160 off meds.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So, yeah, intermittent fasting is good because it allows the body to shut down and repair instead of always feeding it.
Mhm.
So, I think that's kind of more how that works. And um, I don't know. I've had patients, a lot of patients have success with it. Intermittent.
Yeah, so that's
For whatever reason, it doesn't work that well with women. Doesn't seem to, and I don't know why. I think it's hormonal. I haven't really figured that one out yet.
yeah. I have an app that I use, like I use when I fast, just so I don't have to think about when I can eat, you know.
Right.
But the women's fasting, like my intermittent fasting is 20, and then a 4 hour window where I can eat. I can fast for 20 hours because of my age.
Right.
But my wife, I checked, how long she would fast. And it's always like 16 and, a fasting period of 16
Right.
hours.
Right.
So it's always lower. Um, I don't know why.
Yeah, women, I just haven't, I've had some women that I know that really were, staying with it, but haven't had them have really good success yet.
Yeah. And it's a lifestyle change. You gotta just drink water for that amount of time, and you can get it through your coffee or, you know, no sugar tea or whatever. But
Yeah. A lot of mental
yeah, and if you
to
drink
get
enough
over.
water, if you're drinking enough water, it takes away those hunger pains.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah,
It's when you're wrestling and cutting weight that you can't drink water for that last 24 hours that really is a problem.
that is
That is a problem.
yeah,
That is a
yeah,
problem.
yeah.
And I don't recommend that either.
No, I mean, I used to do like 72-hour fast, and just not because I
Right.
knew about it, but
Right.
that's because I'm like, okay, I got to stop eating on Thursday. I can eat
Right.
Saturday,
Right.
and it was. I remember one day I was just not losing weight. I couldn't figure out why, and yeah, I tried the X-Lax, and that didn't work out for me the day I weighed in and ate.
Oh gosh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's but wrestling it teaches you mental
Mental toughness.
toughness. Yeah,
Yep.
because it's not just about the sport; it's about what you have to do.
I kind of like what they're doing wrestling wise now, like Penn State. None of those guys are cutting weight. None of them
Really?
are cutting weight. They wrestle where they're at and they gain muscle.
Oh,
And
okay.
I actually at nationals a couple years ago, I talked to like 4 or 5 of them. I said, how much weight are you cutting? Nothing. So I get to talking to him, and it's like, well, this is how we do it now. We don't really, we'll lose weight because of, practice, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But we're not really allowed to cut weight. And I think that's I think that's a
Oh.
good standard
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And Penn State obviously is,
Number one in the world
number
for the
one.
last,
Yeah.
10 years. Yeah.
yeah,
So they must be doing something right.
yeah.
And I think with that, if you cut too much, I think it's kind of like that assembly line where you don't get X amount of nutrients, et cetera, then things start to break down.
Yeah,
I've seen a lot of wrestlers go through that, lose too much weight, and end up injured.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. My daughter didn't do well with cutting weight. She used to wrestle where she was at, and when she was training for MMA, she had to cut. I think it was 5 pounds. That was the first time she had a hard cut, and she had a mental breakdown. Like she's like, I can't do it anymore, and it's like, well, I'm not gonna make you do it. It's
Yeah.
up to you. You wanted to go to that weight,
Right.
so she pulled out of her match just because she wasn't making any gains at all.
Yeah, that's one of those things I think wrestling might be changing because that was huge. I know my son used to cut from in college. He'd cut from 165 to 125 to wrestle.
Wow.
It's crazy.
I thought,
Crazy.
wow. I was talking about, I wanted to ask this earlier, but gut health, how important is that for mental health? And what can we take to improve our gut health?
Um, yeah, gut health is connected. It's a mind body connection. There's no question about that. The microbiome, in other words, the bacteria that live in your gut, have been shown to be super important. They can take a baby's microbiome and put it into a 90-year-old, and that 90-year-old, it gets younger. I mean, the microbiome is super, super important. And so that's the microbiome is the bacteria that are growing in your stomach that actually help you to digest, that actually put off certain transmitters that tell your body what to do. So the microbiome is super important. The way you can get that better is probiotics, and make sure you're getting a good one. I mean, that's kind of standard what you do. Um, the really high doses of glutathione, which you find in cooked cabbage or sauerkraut or those kind of thing that has a lot of glutathione. Um, and then stay away from antibiotics as much as you can, and stay away from uh, alcohol, because all that stuff kills your microbiome. And getting that up and getting that well, I mean, everybody's different. I mean, pomegranate is something else that helps. I've had a lot of people do yogurt, that helps a lot. And I do that as well as a probiotic, which I feel like I've got a good probiotic. And I think they're out there, but you can't just get the cheap ones, and you have to get the ones that are sealed. Um, and then watching your gut health and not trying to do things that irritate it. Stay away from inflammatory foods like gluten and lactose and alcohol and sugar. Sugar is the worst thing for your microbiome.
Explain the brain chemical and what goes through, or what happens to your brain, for what happens to somebody that's struggling with anxiety and depression constantly. What kind of what's going on up there? Because a lot of people think the, me growing up is like, oh, that person's just crazy, you know. But people aren't born that way. And what affects brain chemicals the most, and what are brain chemicals?
Well, I mean, your main chemical, all right, that works at the synapses of your brain is acetylcholine. Okay, and the acetylcholine, like for example, your acetylcholine, if you take ADHD medicines, Ritalin, Adderall, blah, 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 that acetylcholine's pushed out like you're stepping on the gas as hard and fast as you can to get that brain to function. But in that, if you keep doing that, your car's going to run out of gas.
Yeah.
You need to replenish your acetylcholine, of which choline in the acetylcholine comes from egg yolks. Okay, and so that's like one of your best like brain foods. Now, as far as depression, they have not uh, and anxiety, depression. The acetylcholine levels are low, the dopamine levels are low, um, but they're not sure. I mean, nobody's gone out there and gone on a limb and say this is why the dopamine's low. You do this. I know there's different vitamins like benfotiamine, like nattokinase, like uh, well, choline and phosphatidylinositol is another one that helps. But I mean, you got to make sure that you give the brain all the food that it needs in order to work. And one of my biggest pet peeves is that your brain is like 70% cholesterol. Okay. And like I recently had my sister went to her doctor and said, well, you've had family history of heart disease, and you've had a family history of stroke. And so I'm going to get your cholesterol down to 70. All right. They got her cholesterol down to 70. Her brain couldn't work. And so then she's in a neurologist office because her brain's not working right. Well, so, cholesterol actually feeds the brain. Um, Now, as far as biochemically, they've been doing studies on the biochemistry of your brain and what causes mania, what causes depression, what causes schizophrenia, which causes, and they're just really no better. than they have been. There's really no greater understanding. I remember when I was in medical school, they scanned my brain, um, and had me do like computer program stuff, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, to see which part of my brain worked. And as far as I know, I really don't know. I know what feeds the brain. I know what works for the brain, and I know what helps it, but I can't tell you. I can't tell you what is the thing that, I mean, they're not electroshocking people anymore.
Right.
And I was actually in medical school when they used to do that. That was one of my rotations. So they're not doing that. I think that's good.
Yeah.
But I mean, the neurology and where thoughts come from, et cetera, is still nebulous.
Hmm.
Huh.
That's interesting. There are no
Did you have
further.
something? Did you have something that you've been reading? Because I know you're well read.
No, I just didn't know. I just wanted a clarification on that stuff, but yeah,
Right.
yeah,
But they don't. And that was something that I really looked into when I was in med school. It's like, man, this is cool. I really want to know. I really want to blah, blah, blah. And until recently, they haven't even, just even the cholesterol thing. People are they're causing dementia by taking too much cholesterol meds.
Wow.
wow,
Yeah. And I can remember growing up back in the day, eggs, especially, was whoa, eggs will send your cholesterol through the roof. Stop eating red meat, you know. And I remember in my household, we cut it out
Right.
because that's what what the time said. And now it's like,
That's
oh, well,
big pharma.
yeah, uh-huh,
Okay. That's
yeah,
big food.
yeah,
That's big food. That's
yeah.
big pharma.
Mhm,
And gosh, they've just gotten away so many years with so many lies.
mhm.
And it's mind boggling.
Yeah. Fear. All
And it
fear.
is. It
that
is fear.
sells for yourselves. Um,
Sorry to overtalk you.
no,
Sorry to
you're
Yeah,
take
we're
up
good.
not over
much.
talking. Oh, this is
What
amazing.
would you tell somebody that is struggling with anxiety and depression? What would you be your message to them if you wanted to, if you could reach them? You know, what
You
would be
know,
that
I
main?
anxiety and depression, I think, kind of in some cases go hand in hand. Either you're so anxious that uh, and you're working so hard and you can't. They call it reactive depression, where you're working so hard and you just can't keep up, and then you just shut down. And then there's depression, which is low mood, uh, and depressed thoughts, depressed mood, um, and what I like to do, I mean, what I really feel like the closer back to nature that we get, find a community of some kind, whether it's a church or a school or anything. A, B, ground yourself, get to nature, um, get your bare feet on the ground, do grounding. Um, I used to tend towards depression, and the thing that I do is the Wim Hof breathing techniques, along with I ground and I say, and then I find what I'm thankful for. Okay. And I state that out loud. I'm thankful for my wife. I'm thankful for this. I'm thankful for my practice. I'm thankful for my kids. I'm thankful. And as I go through the opposite of depression is thankfulness. The opposite of anxiety is thankfulness. And so I get myself in that groove every day. And because otherwise it's real easy to revert back.
That's that's true. I heard somebody talk. It was a speech. I think it was a TED talk, but they were talking about if all you think about are your problems, then
Then that's all you're
Yes.
gonna
you
have.
manifest more problems. You know.
But every day I'm thankful for this. And that just starts the whole ball rolling,
Yeah.
you know, and gets your whole that gets your body thinking about what I'm thankful for instead of what I don't like or what makes me angry or whatever.
Yeah.
All right. Cold plunge. I'm a huge fan of that. I mean, that will increase your dopamine crazy amounts. Uh, so yeah, I do all those every day. That's my morning routine.
Yeah. I don't know. Have you talked about sauna in the past?
Oh yeah, yeah. I forgot. Almost forgot my sauna.
Yeah.
The sauna is uh, that's right after I work out. Right before I work out, I do the Wim Hof breathing techniques, thankfulness, and the grounding. Then I work out. Then I go to the sauna. Then I go to the cold plunge. Then I go to work.
That's a full morning.
That is a full morning.
Well, and all of it, all of that takes less than an hour,
Well, yeah.
you know,
Mhm.
What
and that's
is-
life giving.
Just
I mean, it
an
gives me
hour
motivation.
investment.
Right. In you.
You.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I try and encourage patients to do that too. I mean, I don't know if you've ever cold plunged or whatever. I think you have.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
Well, a cold shower, but
Yeah.
I don't
Okay.
have a cold plunge.
So have you ever been able to go into a cold shower pissed off and come out pissed off?
No.
No,
Mhm.
it's impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've tried it. I've tried it. Just get to the point where I really feel like okay, I'm really pissed about this right now. I'm really angry. And I get in the cold shower and it's like, all right, what was I angry about?
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it really does. It increases serotonin, it increases dopamine, it increases the blood flow to the brain and decreases the
Yeah.
peripheral blood flow.
Yeah. What's the recommended time for somebody to cold plunge or take a shower?
Well, like the cold plunge is kind of difficult because you got to get the ice and this and that, blah blah blah. And I'm not real good about that. But um, a minute. I mean, initially you want to start out for 10 or 15 seconds, but if you can get the water below 45 degrees and go a minute to 90 seconds, that's really about where the sweet spot is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So don't have to come out an icicle when you're done.
Right.
So, yeah.
I've tried longer, and most of the studies show that does. I feel like it does me good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in the wintertime, I like when it's really, really cold, I just go stand outside, shorts, t-shirt,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I
sit
always feel
around.
better in the ice cold. Yeah, if I'm anxious or whatever, I will go outside when it's super cold and I can like feel all the levels coming down. I feel like I'm
Right.
leaving my body.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, for kids with depression, I really, if you can just get close to nature, hook up with a community, you know, come see your doctor. Come, I mean, make people aware.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, we live in a city where you have a vibrant cycling community and disc golf community. That's
so many things.
so many
Yes.
things.
Yeah, I grew up in Colby, Kansas. There weren't so many things. You know, there wasn't much to do out there,
Yeah.
Farming.
but farming and yeah. But so many groups in this town, so many groups at the college, so many groups at the high school, so many groups at the grade school,
Yeah.
everywhere. Look at downtown. There's something going on all the time. Get involved in a group. I mean, I think that's probably the thing that, and I think that's why COVID hurt us so bad. And I think that's why depression and anxiety and all that stuff, because people weren't allowed to group up. And you can kind of see how it worked for the whole world.
Mhm.
Definitely.
Mhm.
It didn't work very well.
Nope.
No.
Bad experiment.
Yes.
Mhm.